Hi, we're back at the Expo, the Florida Expo, Florida Cannabis Expo, down here at the Miami Airport Convention Center. Again, if you're in the area, stop by and see us. Sitting in the booth next to me are two gentlemen, Tom and Jason, who are with a company called MJ Freeway. The company, their brochure is almost too complicated for me to even understand. But with me saying that, one of the things I do understand is they provide a service to the industry that not many do, and that's a seed-to-sale software and tracking system. But I'm going to leave it up to them. Jason, Tom, tell us a little bit about the company and what got you into the business.
Well, I'm so glad we have you as a neighbor here at the conference. This is very serendipitous to come over here and be interviewed by you. Think of MJ Freeway at Kerna as a complete cannabis business solutions company. We have three distinct business arms. Software, as you mentioned before, right. Seed to sale. That's 2008, if you will.
Okay.
We're now in Cannabis Traceability 2.0. We're looking at cannabis from a compliance perspective, but also from a business intelligence perspective. Not only how can you be safe and compliant, to provide your patients with a safe product, to provide enforcement with the right tools to track that product throughout the supply chain, but also be as efficient and profitable as possible. So we've recently released a new second generation solution called MJ Platform. And what MJ Platform strives to do is to provide the right software tools, technology, to operators throughout that value chain, the cultivators, the distributors, the manufacturers, the retailers of cannabis, both on the THC side and the CBD hemp side, the right software to have the visibility into what's going on at every point in that supply chain. So that's one side of the three arms that we have.
And in the state of Florida, all that's one company. So it's a little bit different than the rest of the country.
That's what's so great about cannabis right now. The only constant is that everything is going to change.
Absolutely,
and it changes
that's correct.
Often, and to have a partner like MJ Freeway at Kerna, just to give you some background, we've been doing this since 2009. We are the largest, oldest, and best funded cannabis technology company in the world. Look for us on NASDAQ. We recently closed on NASDAQ about 2 months ago under the ticker KERN. KERN. We've been expanding like crazy because the demand is one where people need to have the right tools as the competitive landscape starts merging and starts consolidating, and you see larger and larger companies out there and you're trying to compete against them. Well, if you don't know what your margins are, if you don't know what that ideal genetic is and how to grow it and where to grow it and when to grow it, you're losing vital business intelligence around your license and your operation. So that's one side. The next side is a compliance software that we offer different states.
Right.
We're talking with different countries to track the movement of that product. We layer our data. We have over $16 billion worth of cannabis data that we've transacted on our software over a decade. Why is that important? I always tell my Canadian clients, data is the new bacon. It's how to make informed, data-driven decisions. And if your enforcement, government regulatory body doesn't know what a typical moisture loss is in a plant, and their enforcement agents are not given the right customized alerts to say, hey, this person's reporting a 96% moisture loss, impossible. They're probably diverting the product. Isn't that something that the government should know immediately?
Right, exactly.
And be informed? And then lastly, we have a great consulting wing where we help operators that are looking to win a license in a certain state. We help them through that application process, the build-out process, the business audit process of their particular facility.
Have you looked into in the state of Florida? I know right in the courts today, they're looking to possibly have independent dispensaries. That was one of the things in the state of Florida. I think there's a lawsuit going on right now, or something going on legislative to be able to make that happen, right? So with that being said, with your software, I can understand the tracking from if I grow it, I process it, and I sell it. How does your software work with other states into where you actually have that?
Doesn't like us.
do we for it?
This is a good question, too.
If you still have that product that's out there that actually is going from a grower to a processor, the same, let's say it's the same, and then going to a dispensary is tracking that product to go back. How does that work?
So we position our software as an open platform. That's the non-technical description. The technical description is that it sits on a series of open APIs, data connectors, if you will, that'll tie what we're processing and tracking through our system into that appropriate government regulatory body.
Okay.
So that could be, in some states, leaf data systems.
Right,
We
okay.
are the regulatory system in Pennsylvania, and Washington State, and Utah. In other states, they use other vendors. We approach it from an agnostic perspective, where our core competency is patient safety, product safety, and giving law enforcement the appropriate tools to track everything. How that's done, we can adapt to that particular system, whether that's in a foreign language, a foreign currency, whether that's good manufacturing practices, GAP practices, all of that. Our core competency is to ensure those 3 Ps.
As the CBD business begins to grow, literally, within a variety
It's
of
hard
different
not to make a pun in this.
That's right. It is hard not to. And the tracking of CBD now, as the government actually gets into it with batch testing and that type of stuff. Does your software help with that too? Have you looked at that
Correct.
into the business?
It speaks to that open platform methodology,
Right.
so we can tie into what the labs are using. So we have a great partnership with Steep Hill Labs, for example, where we can tie our software into theirs and cut down the time that operators have to put their product in quarantine and wait for that test result to come.
Perfect.
Typically, that's 5 business days.
Right.
Knock on wood, on a good week.
That's right.
We can cut that down to 72 hours. Why? Because that test result doesn't have to sit in the mail or somebody's voicemail. It can automatically appear in our software. So once that test result is taken, now we have a certificate of analysis around that product
Correct.
tied to that batch or whatever it may be. And taking that one step further, I know that vitamin E acetate
Right.
is making headlines with the vape crisis.
Absolutely.
If your software is not tracking any type of that sort of input or output that may happen, you don't have that visibility. And if there's not an alert that ties into those test results that say, hey, you failed, the appropriate people have been alerted because of that failure, that's when you start getting into problems.
And that level of input is important in the long term too, because there could be other vitamins in the supplement. And instead of we've seen some prohibition kind of approaches in different states that deal with the vaping crisis to really figure out what's causing or what may be causing what variable might have been. I think the better answer might be just to have a heavier requirement from the state perspective and have detailed type of ingredients and better products. Because this is not the only terms of things that potentially happen in any consumer packaging. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
So the better details with respect to ingredients that we process manufacturers or retailers purchase is required to track a better chance we have as an industry to catch things in advance and get it back to the market, much as you would see in other consumer packaging.
I agree. So to the I guess it'd be 15 companies right now that are processing in the state. You have 22 licenses. I think about 15, 14, 15 are actually processing today. And obviously in the state of Florida, they have to do this. They have to track from seed to sale. They have no choice. I know we had mentioned that we won't mention the name of the company, but you're working with one company in the state of Florida right
Sure.
now. What makes your software, for those who are not using you, the other companies, why should they consider using you over another piece of software that does what it's doing for them?
Let me answer your question with a question of my own. In your experience, I know we just met.
Right.
Something tells me you have a very good understanding around cannabis. Would you consider cannabis a unique product vis-a-vis alcohol, tobacco, pharmaceutical industries?
I would say it's unique to the standpoint of government regulation and tracking of batches. I think from that standpoint, it is. Maybe in the pharmaceutical industry, very similar as far as batching and checking. As far as the tobacco and liquor industry, probably not. But yes, it's a medicine. At this point in time, I think in at least the state of Florida, it's a medicine, and it's important to be tracked.
Exactly. Not only tracked, but reach certain pharmaceutical grade standards.
Absolutely, and that's what makes the difference of buying it on the street and buying it from a dispensary.
Exactly. And think about all the potential medians that it changes from a plant, an agricultural product that you think of all these E. coli scares that we don't hear about until weeks and months later. We can't track back to the cabbage that was on the fourth row, third one on the left.
Right.
That's what we need, and that's what operators are looking for, is a cannabis-specific software solution. So we, back in 2009, invented the concept seed to sale. We were the first ones with a cannabis-specific technology. You're starting to see the blue chip software companies like Oracle, SAP, Microsoft entering the space now and retrofitting what they're using in agriculture and pharmaceuticals into cannabis. I'll tell you what, we all know that cannabis is unique. It's very hard to track to that individual plant as that plant goes from an agricultural product, turns into an oil, turns into a nutraceutical, turns into a food product. Think about all those different variations of visibility that you need as it changes through that value chain.
Even more so in CBD, because CBD is like, especially in the state of Florida, I mean, there are no edibles in cannabis, but there are plenty of edibles in CBD.
Exactly. And think about all the variations of test results, of where you test that plant, how high it is on the plant, what lab you're using. Exactly. You need a way to keep track of all that history. Why? It's great for marketing. I have the highest quality 1-to-1-to-1 THC, CBD, CBN product out there, and I can show you. Here's my certificate of analysis. Historically, this is what we've been doing. That's not required yet, but that's going to be a key differentiator. Obviously, there's simple requirements around how much THC is present, but people are becoming more and more educated about what they're looking for within that product and what those one of the 400 cannabinoids do for them.
Exactly.
And they want to see that, and they want to hold that operator's feet to the fire to prove to them that this is what they're saying is.
Well, and I speak to the cannabis industry has been really an industry that the government has really watched from the day it started to be able to do that. The CBD industry it wasn't like that. So I think what I find interesting about your product in the CBD industry is being able to track it, because the government now says you have to. And that's going to put some people out of business. And for those who are smart and get onto a system like yourself, will keep them in business.
For sure. Not only from a regulatory perspective, but not a client of ours. They'll remain nameless.
Right.
We're out of Colorado. Winter came early in Colorado. I'm sure you saw it in the news.
Oh, yeah.
October brought a winter freeze. And there was a lot of outdoor hemp growers that lost a lot of money because they didn't have the data to make a data-driven decision around when to harvest that harvest.
Right. Not continually monitoring.
Yeah.
No, it becomes, again, it's almost, you take a look at data in today's world, becomes what I call AI in this business. And the more businesses like yourself that you do, the more intelligence, AI you can have in this business, and more accurate you could be. And I assume the gathering of data that you have, you will now have predictability.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we have a really cool partnership with a company called Solo Sciences, SOLO Sciences. Look it up. It's not just traceability, it's preventing counterfeit products from entering the market. We saw this with this vape crisis. You can go on Amazon right now and buy Ease products, a cardboard box in a vape that looks like you bought it from Ease in California.
Right.
It's completely counterfeit.
Right.
So we partnered with this great company called Solo Sciences that has a unique anti-counterfeit mark. It's a little label about half the size of a penny. In that label, you can scan with any smartphone, any sort of camera, and be alerted, A, if that's counterfeit or not, and B, start to interact with that product, you'll get asked certain questions. Hey, why did you buy this product? Does this product fit your diagnosis? Etc., etc. That, for us, is the next evolution of traceability, because we're going from seed to sale to self. We're understanding how you're engaging with that product, bringing back that data set and putting it back into our supply chain, matching cannabinoid profiles and test results to, hey, did that make you sleepy? If so, we have quantifiably proven that this is good for you.
Right. And there are a variety of different software products out there doing that now, but those are independent of from seed to sale.
Exactly.
They're independent companies doing it rather than the actual producing company.
That's what approaches the consumer. This is the type of thing that the manufacturer side you love to have, right? Substantiate a certain one of your products and trust them in issues.
For sure.
And then the market becomes a leader.
And then you can also, from an inventory standpoint, know how much more of this you need this than you do the other as far as sales.
What do you think Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Kaiser Permanente,
Right.
the World Health Organization wants? They want a case study with a large sample size that quantifies the positive outcomes that medical cannabis is affecting in a society, saying, hey, this really is, we know it's good for a veteran suffering from PTSD, but what does that mean? Purple haze, Jack Herer good, or what is that particular strain that responds specifically for that person?
Oh, you're 100% correct. That was one of the issues you have. There are so many different strains by so many different companies, and what people don't understand, they're not all the same. They may have the same name, but they're not all the same.
Exactly. And they all cost differently.
That's exactly.
From a producer standpoint and from a retail standpoint.
Yeah. So tell us, with the cannabis companies that are out there, how do they reach you? How do they have that one-on-one conversation with you? How can they, where do they look to find your company? What's the best way to be able for them to talk with you and see if they want to implement you in their business plans?
So from a regulatory standpoint, they're going to talk to my colleague Tom Roth. And from a software operator ERP perspective, they're going to talk to me, Jason Fowler, and you can look us up, mjfreeway.com, check out our ticker, invest in us, that's KERN on NASDAQ, and then...
Perfect. So what I want to do is, if you watch this video, it's kind of long, but hang with it. You need to understand that you can reach them again from the information they've given you, or you can actually contact me at Cannabis News Florida, and I'll be glad to get you their information.
What's your hashtag? Do you have a hashtag? Do you
No.
have a crazy handle?
No, I do not. Jason, thank you
Thanks,
much.
Charles.
Tom, thank you.
Appreciate your time.